The gala was an extravagant affair held in one of the city's most opulent venues, where chandeliers sparkled like stars and laughter echoed through the grand hall. Mia stood near the entrance, adjusting her dress and trying to blend into the crowd of elegantly dressed elites. At 35, she felt a mixture of excitement and trepidation, each heartbeat a reminder of her aspirations clashing with her insecurities. She had never been one to thrive in high society. The gilded surroundings felt foreign, almost suffocating. Yet, Mia was determined to network for her career, to climb the professional ladder that had always seemed just out of reach. Before you skip, just remember channels like this only survive if you hit subscribe. Otherwise, stories like this one just disappear. As she moved through the room, glancing at the meticulously arranged tables garnished with delicate floral arrangements, she felt the weight of the eyes upon her. The whispers that floated through the air were not about her, but they pricked at her confidence like tiny thorns. She caught snippets of conversations about the influential figures in attendance, one name echoing louder than the others, Jun. The Korean mafia boss. Her heart raced at the thought of him. It wasn't just the power he wielded that captivated her, it was the aura of danger that surrounded him. He was known for being ruthless, yet there was a magnetism that drew people in, making them want to know more. Little did she know, he was already aware of her presence. As Mia navigated the crowd, she felt a sudden chill sweep over her. A pair of piercing eyes locked onto hers from across the room. Jun stood there, tall and imposing, dressed in a tailored suit that accentuated his broad shoulders. He exuded an air of authority, and yet, there was something in his gaze that made her feel vulnerable. It was a strange mix of fear and exhilaration, as if he could see right through her facade. "Stop lowering your eyes," he said, his voice deep and commanding, cutting through the noise of the gala as if they were the only two people in the room. The intensity of his stare sent a shiver down her spine, and she instinctively dropped her gaze to the floor, her cheeks flushing with embarrassment. Before you skip, just remember, channels like this only survive if you hit subscribe. Otherwise, stories like this one just disappear. Mia's mind raced as she struggled to compose herself. She had come here to build connections, to prove her worth, yet here she was, feeling like a deer caught in headlights under the scrutiny of a man who could shift the balance of power with a mere glance. The other guests continued to mingle, oblivious to the charged atmosphere surrounding them. It was as if time had stopped, and the world had faded away, leaving only Jun and her in this suspended moment. She felt a mixture of attraction and intimidation. How could someone so powerful hold such sway over her emotions? It was maddening yet thrilling. Jun was notorious for his ruthlessness, known to have enemies, yet here he was, commanding respect even from the distance that separated them. As she looked back up, she caught his smirk, a slight curve of his lips that hinted at amusement. It was as if he relished in her reaction, enjoying the effect he had on her. Mia's heart raced as she tried to regain her composure. She forced herself to look at him squarely, determined to show that she was not just another intimidated guest at his gala. "I'm not lowering my eyes," she replied, her voice steadier than she felt. "I'm just taking in the surroundings." He raised an eyebrow, clearly unconvinced. "The surroundings won't help you make the connections you need tonight," he stated, stepping closer, his presence overwhelming. "Look at me when I speak to you, Mia. You might find it empowering." Her breath caught in her throat. How did he know her name? The way he said it sent a rush through her, igniting a fire she didn't know existed within her. She felt a flicker of defiance rise against the wave of intimidation. "And what if I don't want to?" she challenged, her heart racing with both fear and excitement. Jun chuckled, the sound low and smooth, a dangerous melody that made her pulse quicken. "You'll want to, trust me. There's strength in looking someone in the eye, especially when they hold your fate in their hands." Mia felt the weight of his words, the power dynamics at play swirling around them. Here was a man who could reshape her life with a single decision, yet instead of cowering, she felt an odd sense of empowerment in his presence. The thrill of danger mixed with the allure of the unknown was intoxicating. As he spoke, she couldn't help but notice the subtle intricacies of his face, the sharp lines of his jaw, the intensity of his dark eyes, and the way his lips curled just slightly when he spoke. It was maddening how such a man could evoke both fear and fascination in her, and she hated herself for it. Yet, she couldn't look away. Their eyes locked once more, and Mia felt an unspoken challenge hanging in the air. The moment stretched on, thick with tension, and she realized that this was more than just a mundane gala. It was a defining moment that could alter the course of her life. Would she allow herself to be intimidated by the man before her, or could she rise to meet the challenge he posed? As she stood there, caught in his gaze, Mia understood that everything had changed. The energy between them crackled like electricity, and she felt a surge of determination. She would not let this moment slip away. She would look him in the eye, and she would not back down. The gala continued around them, but in that moment, nothing else mattered. The stakes were higher than she had anticipated, and she could feel the thrill of the unknown pulling her deeper into a world she had only heard whispers about. Would she dare to step into his realm, to embrace the danger that came with it? Mia took a deep breath, feeling her heart race as she prepared for whatever came next. Somewhere deep down, she knew this was just the beginning of a journey that would test her in ways she had never imagined, and the man before her would be at the center of it all. Mia tried to shake off the lingering sensation of June's piercing gaze as she moved deeper into the gala, her heart still racing from their brief encounter. The atmosphere was a blend of opulence and tension, with laughter and clinking glasses creating a background hum that seemed to mock her own anxiety. She glanced around the grand hall, adorned with golden chandeliers and silk drapes, feeling utterly out of place among the elite mingling effortlessly. The air was thick with the scent of expensive perfume and the rich aroma of gourmet food. Determined to make the most of the evening, she straightened her posture and plastered a confident smile on her face. This gala wasn't just an event, it was an opportunity, a chance to network and prove her worth in a world that often overlooked her. Yet, as she ventured further into the crowd, whispers reached her ears, and she caught snippets of conversation that sent chills down her spine. "Have you heard about June?" one woman whispered to her companion, her voice laced with a mixture of awe and fear. "They say he once took down an entire gang single-handedly." Mia's ears perked up. She had heard the name before, but the reality of who he truly was began to sink in. June was not just a powerful figure in the city, he was a force of nature, a man whose reputation preceded him like a shadow. As she passed groups of elegantly dressed guests, the hushed tones grew louder, painting a picture of a man who commanded both respect and terror. "A ruthless businessman," another voice chimed in. "They say he's untouchable." Mia's breath hitched as she imagined the stories behind the whispers. What kind of man could inspire such fear? Her curiosity battled with her apprehension, pulling her toward the very danger that sent others fleeing. There was an undeniable allure to his confidence, a magnetic pull that made her heart race even faster. "Just stay focused, Mia," she whispered to herself, trying to shake off the thoughts that threatened to consume her. "You're here for a reason." But the stunning view of June across the room made that task increasingly difficult. He stood with an air of authority, surrounded by admirers who seemed enthralled by his every word. His dark suit hugged his tall frame perfectly, accentuating the strength he exuded. For a moment, he turned his gaze in her direction again, and their eyes locked once more. The world around her faded into a blur, and it felt as if a spotlight illuminated the space between them. "Why does he keep looking at me?" she thought, feeling a mix of excitement and terror. Was she truly ready for the storm that was June? As Mia navigated through the crowd, her mind swirled with questions about him. She wanted to know more about the man whose very presence seemed to command the room. What lay beneath that tough exterior? Was there a vulnerability hidden within the layers of power he wore like armor? That thought lingered, igniting a flame of curiosity that urged her forward. Suddenly, she overheard another conversation that drew her closer. "He's not just a mafia boss, he's a strategist," Always 3 steps ahead of everyone else, a man said, his tone filled with admiration. You do well to stay on his good side. Mia couldn't help but feel a thrill at the thought of being in the orbit of someone so formidable. Yet, at the same time, the warnings echoed in her mind. Could she handle the consequences of getting too close? As she weighed her options, she felt a sudden urge to approach June, to take the plunge into the unknown. What's the worst that could happen, she mused, trying to convince herself as she made her way through the throng of guests. Each step felt heavier than the last, charged with the weight of uncertainty and anticipation. As she finally reached the edge of June's circle, he turned slightly, catching her off guard. The intensity in his gaze sent a jolt through her, igniting a rush of adrenaline. She took a deep breath, steeling herself for whatever was about to unfold. Mia, he greeted her, his voice low and smooth, sending shivers down her spine. I see you've decided to join us. His words hung in the air, and she felt every pair of eyes turn to her, weighing her presence against the backdrop of his power. I thought it was about time I introduced myself, she replied, her voice steady despite the rapid beating of her heart. Your reputation precedes you, he said, his voice dripping with intrigue. But tell me, are you here for business or pleasure? The question hung in the air like a challenge, and she felt the heat rise to her cheeks. A bit of both, I suppose, she replied, trying to keep the conversation light but aware that this was far from a casual chat. June smirked, a glimmer of amusement in his dark eyes. Well, then, let's make the most of it. Tell me what you're looking for tonight, Mia. I might be able to help. His gaze bore into hers, and she felt a shiver run down her spine. Was this an invitation to delve deeper into his world, or was he simply intrigued by her presence? The tension was palpable, and Mia sensed that this was a crossroads in her life. Just connections, she managed to reply, her voice firmer than she felt. I want to grow my career and expand my network. Ah, ambition, June mused, clearly pleased by her answer. A quality I admire. But be careful, ambition can lead you down paths you never intended to take. His warning was subtle yet ominous, and she couldn't help but wonder what he meant. What paths had he taken? What sacrifices had he made? She was drawn to him, not just because of the danger he represented but also because of the depth he hinted at beneath his tough exterior. As the evening wore on, Mia found herself caught in the web of June's charm and the unpredictability of his world. She was captivated by the stories woven around him, the allure of danger intertwined with the thrill of attraction. Stay sharp, she reminded herself, feeling the weight of her ambition pressing against her resolve. She had to remember her purpose, to keep her eyes on the prize even as they gazed into the depths of something dangerous yet exhilarating. With each passing moment, she inched closer to the truth, knowing that the choices she made tonight would shape her future in ways she couldn't yet comprehend. The gala, the whispers, June, everything was a test of her strength and determination. Little did she know, this was just the beginning of a journey that would challenge her in ways she never imagined. As she looked into June's eyes once more, she felt a spark ignite within her, promising that whatever lay ahead would be nothing short of extraordinary. And so, as the night continued to unfold, Mia steeled herself for the trials and triumphs that awaited her, eager to embrace her fate, whatever it might hold. As the music swelled around them, Mia felt the weight of June's gaze pressing down on her. The crowd at the gala swirled like a tempest, laughter and chatter creating a vibrant backdrop, yet she felt isolated in her own thoughts. It was as though they stood in a bubble, encapsulated away from the world, where every beat of her heart echoed in her ears. His presence was magnetic, and she could hardly breathe. Stop lowering your eyes, June said, his voice a low rumble that cut through the noise. The command hung in the air, tinged with authority and something else, something she couldn't quite place. It sent a shiver down her spine, awakening a part of her that had been dormant for far too long. Look at me. Mia's heart raced, caught between the urge to obey and the instinct to retreat. She lifted her gaze, meeting his eyes, and felt the world around her fade. June's dark eyes were piercing, full of intensity and hidden depths, and for a moment, she forgot where she was. The challenge in his tone sent her pulse racing. Was he testing her? Pushing her to confront the very insecurities she had fought so hard to overcome? Why do you hide? He continued, taking a step closer, closing the distance that felt electric between them. The scent of his cologne wafted over, a blend of cedar and spice, grounding her amidst the whirl of emotions. You have every right to be here, just like anyone else. Don't let their whispers get to you. His words cut through the fog of self-doubt, igniting a fire within her. She had spent years proving herself in a male-dominated industry, clawing her way up the ladder, yet here she was, feeling small under June's imposing presence. She had come to the gala to make connections, to network with the elite, and yet, she felt like an imposter. Yet, here he was, this powerful man, urging her to embrace her worth. It was both exhilarating and terrifying. I just didn't want to draw attention, she stammered, the confession slipping from her lips before she could think better of it. His eyes narrowed slightly, an inscrutable expression crossing his face. You think I don't command attention? He asked, and there was a hint of amusement in his tone. Mia, you have something they want to see, just as I do. Show them. She swallowed hard, her throat dry. There was something intoxicating about the way he spoke, as if he could see through her defenses and straight into her soul. The vulnerability in his gaze was unexpected, and it stirred something deep inside her, a longing to be seen, truly seen, beyond the facade she had carefully crafted. You're not what I expected, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. I thought you'd be different. And what, exactly, did you expect? June inquired, an eyebrow raised. There was a playful challenge in his demeanor, yet she sensed an underlying seriousness. Someone cold, distant, a monster, she replied honestly, feeling a flicker of bravery surge through her. But you're human. He chuckled softly, the sound rich and warm. I appreciate that you see me as more than just a title, but don't mistake my world for a fairy tale. I have my reasons for being who I am. The intensity of the moment wrapped around them, every word charged with meaning. Mia felt her heart flutter, as if suspended in time. She had never been this close to someone so powerful yet vulnerable, and it was both intoxicating and frightening. What are your reasons? She asked, emboldened by his admission. What brought you to this life? The amusement in his eyes faded, replaced by a shadow of something darker. Survival, he said simply, and the word resonated with her. She could see the weight of his past pressing down on him, and it made her ache for him. Before she could probe further, a cacophony of laughter erupted from a nearby group, reminding her of the crowd surrounding them. The moment felt too intimate, too charged to be shared in such a public setting. We should step away, June suggested, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. There was a subtle shift in his demeanor as he took her arm, guiding her towards a quieter corner of the gala. As they moved through the throngs of people, she felt a mix of thrill and anxiety. This man, who commanded respect and fear, was choosing to share a moment with her. As they reached a secluded nook, June turned to face her, the intensity of his gaze unwavering. You think you can navigate this world without looking up? Without facing the challenges head-on? He paused, studying her. You're stronger than you realize, Mia. Embrace it. His words wrapped around her like a warm embrace, igniting a sense of empowerment she hadn't expected. She had come here seeking to connect, to network, and yet, in this moment, June was offering her something far more valuable, a glimpse of her potential. If you're already hooked on their chemistry, hit that like button. And tell me, would you trust him? The question lingered in the air as the dynamic between them shifted, becoming something more profound than either had anticipated. Mia's heart raced, not just from the tension but from the possibility of what lay ahead. If she could stand tall in front of someone like June, perhaps she could face any obstacle life threw her way. The gala continued around them, a swirl of laughter and luxury, but here, in this moment, it was just the two of them. June's presence enveloped her, a mix of danger and allure, and she felt a thrill of excitement course through her veins. The stakes had never felt higher, but for the first time, she was ready to rise to the challenge. As they stood there, eyes locked, the world around them faded away, leaving only the promise of what was to come. This was just the beginning of their entwined fates, and Mia could hardly wait to see where it would lead. Mia's heart raced as the atmosphere around them shifted. The gala had been a whirlwind of laughter and chatter, but now, tension hung thick in the air like an impending storm. Just as she began to catch her breath from their intense conversation, a raucous sound shattered the elegance of the evening. Shouts erupted from the main hall, and the light-hearted ambience was replaced with a palpable sense of danger. "What was that?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper, as a chill danced down her spine. June's expression instantly transformed, the playful glint in his eyes vanished, replaced by a fierce focus that sent a rush of adrenaline through her. "Stay close," he commanded in a low voice, his grip on her arm tightening slightly as he guided her further away from the chaos. They slipped into a dimly lit corridor, the sound of chaos echoing behind them. Mia's instinct screamed at her to run, but she found herself rooted to the spot, drawn to June's commanding presence. The way he moved with purpose made her feel simultaneously safe and terrified. As they reached a secluded part of the venue, June turned to face her, his eyes dark and serious. "I need you to trust me," he said, his voice firm yet filled with an underlying current of urgency. "Whatever happens, do not panic. I won't let anything happen to you." Mia nodded, her throat dry, the weight of his words sinking in. She could see the tension in his jaw, the way his body coiled like a spring ready to unleash. It was clear now that this man was not merely a figure of intrigue at the gala, he was someone who navigated a world rife with danger. Before she could respond, a loud crash resonated from the main hall, followed by a collection of panicked voices. The sound sent a shiver through her as she instinctively took a step closer to June, feeling his warmth radiate against the chill of fear enveloping her. The chaos surged, and Mia's heart raced faster than ever, echoing the uncertainty of the moment. June's eyes flickered towards the sound, assessing the risk, and Mia could almost see the gears turning in his mind. He was calculating his next move, determining how to protect her while confronting whatever threat loomed just out of sight. This man, who had previously appeared confident and commanding, now had a hint of vulnerability, a man faced with a situation he had little control over. "What's going on?" Mia asked, her voice trembling slightly. She felt a mix of curiosity and dread. "Rival gang," he replied tersely, his expression hardening. "They don't care who gets hurt as long as they send a message." Mia's pulse quickened at the realization. This was not just a glamorous gala, it was a battleground. She had unwittingly stepped into a world that was foreign and frightening. Yet, in the presence of June, she felt an unexpected thrill. The danger was real, but so was the intoxicating connection that pulsed between them. Suddenly, the door they had just passed through burst open, and a group of men stormed into the corridor, their faces grim and hostile. June's body instinctively moved in front of Mia, shielding her from their view. The tension escalated as the men began shouting orders, their voices a cacophony of aggression and power. "Mia, stay behind me," June instructed, his voice a low growl. He was in full protector mode, and she could feel the energy radiating off him like a palpable force. "Is this really happening?" she whispered, her heart pounding in her chest. This was not what she had signed up for when she put on her elegant dress and stepped into the gala. "You'll be all right," June assured her, but his eyes told a different story. They were filled with a fierce determination, a promise that he would go to great lengths to keep her safe. As the men moved closer, June took a step forward, his posture shifting to one of authority. "You don't want to do this here," he said, his voice steady, almost calm in the face of chaos. The men hesitated, clearly recognizing the weight of his presence, but the tension crackled in the air. Mia held her breath, caught between fear and fascination. June was a force to be reckoned with, and witnessing his power only deepened her intrigue. There was something compelling about the way he commanded respect, even in the face of danger. "Let her go," one of the men barked, his voice dripping with contempt. "She has nothing to do with this." Mia felt a wave of relief wash over her, but it was quickly overshadowed by the reality of their situation. She was deeply entangled in a world that demanded strength and resilience, and she was not sure if she was ready for that. "She's with me," June stated, his voice firm, his gaze unwavering. The words hung in the air, a declaration that only heightened the stakes of the moment. Suddenly, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed from behind them, and Mia's heart sank. More men were coming, and they would not hesitate to create chaos. "Go!" June yelled, shoving Mia towards a nearby exit. "Now!" She didn't need to be told twice. The urgency in his voice propelled her forward, and she sprinted through the door he had indicated, her instincts kicking in. She glanced back to see June still standing his ground, his presence a formidable barrier against the encroaching danger. Mia ducked into a darkened hallway, her breath coming in short gasps as she leaned against the cool wall, trying to calm her racing heart. The sounds of chaos grew louder, and she could feel the adrenaline coursing through her veins. She was terrified, yet exhilarated. This was a world alive with danger and passion, and she was at the very center of it. As she caught her breath, she couldn't help but think of June. He was out there, risking everything for her. In that moment, her understanding of him shifted. He was not just a mafia boss, he was a protector, someone willing to face the storm to keep her safe. If you're already hooked on their chemistry, hit that like button. And tell me, would you trust him? The thought lingered in her mind as she waited, heart pounding, for June to join her. The night was far from over, and she was about to discover just how deep their connection ran amidst the chaos surrounding them. As the sounds of the gala continued to ripple through the air, Mia felt a sense of empowerment wash over her. She was no longer just an observer in this world, she was a participant, woven into the fabric of June's dangerous yet magnetic existence. Whatever awaited her on the other side of the door, she was ready to face it head-on. As the chaos of the gala faded into a distant echo, Mia and June found themselves in a secluded corridor, the air thick with unresolved tension. June's presence was a force, an unyielding wall of protection that both thrilled and terrified her. The adrenaline from the earlier commotion still coursed through her veins, making her acutely aware of every breath they took in the dim light. Mia looked at June, taking in the sharp lines of his jaw and the intensity in his dark eyes. There was something both alluring and intimidating about him. He was a man who commanded respect, a boss in every sense of the word, yet here he was, showing a vulnerability that she hadn't expected. "Thank you for protecting me back there," she managed to say, her voice barely above a whisper. June's expression softened for a moment, and she caught a glimpse of the man behind the powerful facade. "You don't need to thank me. I won't let anything happen to you." His voice was low and steady, with an undertone of sincerity that sent a shiver down her spine. Mia's heart raced as she processed his words. She wasn't just another person to him, she was someone worth protecting. But that realization came with its own set of complications. Could she really navigate this world he belonged to? The stakes felt impossibly high, and she was acutely aware of the danger that lurked just beyond the walls. "Why did you bring me here?" she asked, needing to understand what had just unfolded. "Is this how you always handle things? With violence?" There was a hint of accusation in her tone, and she couldn't help but feel conflicted about the entire situation. June stepped closer, closing the distance that had felt like an ocean just moments before. "Sometimes, you have to show strength to protect what matters. You need to understand that this life, it's not just about power, it's about loyalty. There are threats everywhere, and I won't let anyone hurt you." His words resonated with her, yet a part of her struggled against the idea of being part of his world. But at what cost? What if I can't handle it? What if you can't protect me forever? The vulnerability in her voice surprised even herself, but she couldn't hold back any longer. June's gaze bore into hers, and in that moment, she felt a connection that was both electric and terrifying. "You can handle this, Mia. I see strength in you. You just need to embrace it." His confidence in her stirred something deep within, a flicker of hope mingled with fear. "I don't know if I can be part of this," she admitted, her voice trembling. "It's overwhelming." "Life is overwhelming," June replied, his grip on her arm gentle yet firm. "But sometimes, it's the chaos that leads to clarity. You just have to trust me." Mia's breath hitched as she processed his words. Trust. It was a heavy word, one she rarely gave out freely. Yet, looking into his eyes, she felt the weight of his sincerity. The way he looked at her made her believe that maybe, just maybe, she was capable of more than she realized. But doubt lingered. What if I get hurt? Or worse? The thought sent a chill down her spine, and she instinctively took a step back, breaking the electric connection they shared. "I won't let that happen." "Not to you," he stated with a conviction that left no room for doubt. "You're stronger than you think, and I'll be right by your side." The promises hung in the air, heavy with the implications of what they meant. She was stepping into a world filled with shadows, a reality that required her to confront her fears head-on. Would she be able to rise to the challenge, or would she falter under the pressure? "I just need some time," Mia said, her voice steadier than she felt. "I need to think." "Take all the time you need," June replied, his tone softening. "But know this, I'm here for you. Whenever you're ready." As she turned to leave, the weight of his words hung in the air, a promise that felt both reassuring and daunting. She stepped back into the gala, the atmosphere now charged with a sense of purpose. The night was far from over, and she was determined to navigate it with newfound resolve. In that moment, Mia realized that her life was about to change in ways she couldn't yet comprehend. The connection with June was undeniable, but the path before her was fraught with danger and uncertainty. She took a deep breath, the scent of expensive cologne and the remnants of champagne filling her senses. If you're already hooked on their chemistry, hit that like button. And tell me, would you trust him? The thought flashed through her mind, a reflection of the turmoil and excitement swirling within her. As she mingled among the guests, her heart raced not just from the thrill of the evening but from the challenges ahead. Every glance at June ignited a fire within her, a mix of fear, excitement, and something more profound. She was drawn to him, to the world he represented, and to the unknown possibilities that awaited them both. Amidst all the glamour of the gala, Mia felt a shift within herself. She was no longer just a spectator in this lavish display of power, she was a player in the game, awakening to her own strength and the potential of the connection she had with June. The night had transformed into a journey of self-discovery, and she was ready to embrace whatever came next. As the evening progressed, Mia marveled at how quickly life could change. One moment she was an ordinary woman, and the next, she was entwined with a man whose very existence challenged everything she thought she knew. June was not just a mafia boss, he was a mystery, a puzzle she felt compelled to solve. With every heartbeat, she realized the stakes were higher than she had ever imagined. The allure of the unknown beckoned her, and she found herself willing to take a leap of faith into a world where danger and desire coexisted. Whatever lay ahead, she was ready to face it, with June by her side. As the tension from the previous encounter lingered in the air, Mia felt the weight of her choices pressing down on her. June had revealed a glimpse of his world, a dangerous yet intoxicating reality that both thrilled and terrified her. She found herself standing at a crossroads, trying to reconcile her feelings with the harsh truths of his life. The gala continued around her, a blur of laughter, clinking glasses, and swirling gowns, but her focus remained on the man who had captured her attention and stirred her heart. She could see June from across the room, his presence commanding even amidst the chaos. He spoke with a group of men, each one hanging on his every word. The way he moved, confident and self-assured, drew her in like a moth to a flame. Yet, the shadows that danced behind his eyes reminded her that he was not just a charming figure at a gala, he was a mafia boss, a man accustomed to a life filled with danger and betrayal. Mia's heart raced as she recalled their conversation, the way he had looked at her with an intensity that sent shivers down her spine. "You're stronger than you think," he had said. The conviction in his voice resonated within her, igniting a spark of courage she didn't know she possessed. But could she truly embrace the chaos he represented? Would she be able to stand by him, knowing the risks involved? As she contemplated her next move, the atmosphere shifted. A sudden commotion erupted on the far side of the room, drawing her attention away from June. She watched as a group of men, clearly not part of the gala, barged in, their aggressive demeanor causing a ripple of panic among the guests. Anxiety coursed through her veins as she instinctively glanced toward June, who had already shifted his focus to the disturbance, his expression hardening. "Stay here," he commanded, his tone leaving no room for argument. Mia nodded, feeling a mix of fear and anticipation. She wanted to follow him, to stand beside him as he faced the chaos, but she also understood that he needed to protect her. June approached the intruders with a calm confidence that belied the tension in the air. His posture was relaxed, but Mia could see the muscles in his jaw tighten as he assessed the situation. The men were clearly trouble, and the way they exchanged glances with one another told her that they were not here for a friendly chat. In that moment, Mia felt an overwhelming urge to help him, to show him that she was more than capable of handling the situation. But the reality of her limitations crashed down on her, and she felt small again, trapped in a world she didn't fully understand. "What am I doing here?" she whispered to herself, frustration boiling within her. Just then, June's voice cut through the noise, steady and authoritative. "You're in the wrong place. Leave now, and no one has to get hurt." The tone he used was firm, but there was a hint of something deeper, a protective instinct that stirred within her. She could see the tension in his shoulders, the way he squared them against the impending confrontation. The intruders laughed, a harsh sound that echoed throughout the luxurious venue. "You think you can just tell us to leave? This is our territory now," one of them sneered, his eyes narrowing as he took a step closer to June. Mia's heart raced, fear mingling with admiration for the man who stood before her, unyielding in the face of danger. As the confrontation escalated, Mia felt a surge of adrenaline. She had to do something. June had already shown her a glimpse of his vulnerability, and she couldn't just stand by and watch as he faced these men alone. Gathering her courage, she whispered to herself, "I can't let him do this by himself." Just as Mia took a step forward, June's gaze flicked to her, and in that brief moment, their eyes locked. It was a silent communication, a shared understanding that transcended words. "Stay back," he mouthed, his expression shifting from fierce determination to concern. But the moment was interrupted as the intruder lunged at June, and without hesitation, June retaliated. The chaos erupted into a flurry of motion, bodies colliding and voices raised in anger. Mia's heart pounded in her chest as she instinctively moved closer to June, her instinct screaming at her to support him, to stand by his side. In the midst of the chaos, June's protective nature shone through. He expertly maneuvered around the intruders, his movements fluid and precise, a testament to the life he had led. Mia watched in awe, her fear turning into fierce admiration. This was the man she had felt drawn to, a blend of danger and strength that captivated her in ways she hadn't anticipated. "Get out of here, Mia!" June shouted, his voice cutting through the noise once more. But she refused to back down. "I'm not leaving you," she yelled back, her voice steady despite the fear that coursed through her. For a moment, June's expression softened, a flicker of surprise crossing his features as he realized she wasn't going to run away. "You really don't understand, do you?" he replied, his voice low but intense. "This world is dangerous." "I can't, neither can I," she interrupted fiercely, her resolve solidifying. "I won't let you face this alone." Their connection deepened in that instant, a shared understanding of the stakes at hand. June's eyes searched hers, as if weighing the gravity of her words. It was a moment of clarity amidst the chaos, and in that vulnerability, they both recognized the bond they were forging. The scuffle continued, and in a flash, June took control of the situation, pushing back against the intruders with an authority that left Mia breathless. She could see the man he was, powerful yet compassionate, and it ignited something within her, the realization that she was more than just an observer in this world. As the confrontation subsided, and the intruders were ushered out, Mia felt a mix of relief and exhilaration. They had faced danger together, and it had changed everything. She could see the tension in June's shoulders begin to ease as the adrenaline from the encounter slowly dissipated. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice low, concern etched into his features. "I am now," she replied, her heart still racing. "But what about you? You didn't have to do that alone." He stepped closer, the intensity of his gaze locking onto hers. "I don't want you to get hurt, Mia. This life," he trailed off, the weight of his reality settling between them. "I know it's dangerous, but I can handle it," she insisted. "I want to be here, with you." His expression softened, and in that moment, the connection they shared deepened even further. June was no longer just a mafia boss to her, he was a man filled with complexities, vulnerabilities, and a fierce loyalty that drew her in. "Then let's figure this out together," he said, his voice resolute. The promise hung in the air, a vow that she would not take lightly. As the gala continued around them, Mia realized that her life would never be the same. The journey ahead was uncertain, but for the first time, she felt ready to face it, side by side with June. If you're already hooked on their chemistry, hit that like button. And tell me, would you trust him? The thought echoed in her mind as she stood beside him, ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead. Mia felt an overwhelming sense of turmoil as she stood beside June, the tension between them palpable in the air. The adrenaline from the confrontation still coursed through her veins, and she could hardly process what had just happened. June's protective instincts had surfaced in a way she had never anticipated, and it had shaken her to her core. As the chaos settled around them, she couldn't help but reflect on the implications of being involved with a man like him, a man steeped in a world she had never sought to enter. "What you did back there," she began, her voice steady but laced with uncertainty. "You put yourself at risk for me." Her heart ached at the thought of the danger he faced regularly, and it ignited a mixture of admiration and fear within her. June turned to her, his expression serious. "I don't want you to get hurt, Mia. This world I'm in, it's dangerous. You have to understand that." Mia took a deep breath, trying to quell the storm of emotions rising within her. "But I chose to stay. I could have left, but I didn't. I'm not afraid of you, June. I'm afraid of losing you." The words hung in the air between them, heavy with meaning. His gaze softened for a moment, revealing a flicker of vulnerability beneath the hardened facade he often wore. "You really don't know what you're getting into. This life isn't just about me, it's about everything that comes with it. The danger, the enemies, they'll come for you if they find out you're close to me." Mia stepped closer, narrowing the space between them. "Then let them come. I won't be a pawn in this game, June. I fought too hard to build my life to let anyone dictate it now." She felt the weight of her own determination, realizing that she was not just drawn to June's strength, she also wanted to stand beside him, to be an active participant in her own destiny. A faint smile played on June's lips, a mix of admiration and surprise. "You're something else, you know that? Most people would run away at the first sign of trouble." "I'm not most people," she replied, the conviction in her voice unwavering. "If I wanted an ordinary life, I wouldn't be here right now." He regarded her for a moment, the tension shifting as he recognized her resilience. June had grown accustomed to people fearing him, but Mia was different. She was brave in the face of his darkness, and it intrigued him. "You're right. You're not ordinary. I admire that about you." The atmosphere between them shifted, the earlier chaos fading into the background as a new understanding blossomed. But just as the connection deepened, a shadow crossed June's face. "There's something I haven't told you, something important." Mia's heart raced. "What is it?" "You can tell me anything. It's about my past, about why I am the way I am. I've made choices that haunt me, choices that have put those I care about in danger. You need to know what you're walking into." His voice was low, laden with the weight of his experiences. "June, whatever it is, we can face it together," she urged, desperate to bridge the gap between them. "You don't have to carry this burden alone." He hesitated, the internal battle evident on his face. But the sincerity in her eyes encouraged him to continue. "I've lost people because of my decisions. Friends, family, they paid the price for my mistakes. I can't let that happen to you." Mia stepped back slightly, taking in his words. The shadows of his past loomed large, and for the first time, she felt the enormity of what she was getting into. "You can't protect me from everything, June. I need to know the truth, even if it's painful." June's expression hardened. "The truth is that being with me is dangerous, Mia. I can't guarantee your safety. If you stay, you'll become a target. And I won't let that happen." She shook her head, frustration bubbling to the surface. "I can handle myself. I'm not asking you to shield me. I'm asking you to let me in." The desperation in her voice was unmistakable. He looked at her, torn between the instinct to shield her from harm and the undeniable pull he felt toward her. "You don't understand. There are things in my world that are dark, twisted. People who would do anything to get what they want. I can't let that happen to you." Mia's resolve only strengthened. "I want to know, June. I want to understand what I'm signing up for. Can't you see that?" Taking a deep breath, June finally relented. "All right, but you need to promise me that you'll be careful. You're stepping into a world that isn't just glamorous, it's filled with threats and betrayals." "I promise," she said, her voice steady. "I'm not afraid, and I won't back down." In that moment, June felt a rush of admiration for her courage, a warmth spreading through him that he hadn't allowed himself to feel in a long time. She was a force of nature, and despite the risks, he couldn't help but be drawn to her. He stepped closer, their bodies almost touching, the tension between them thickening once more. For the first time, June let her see a glimpse of his vulnerability. "I want you to know that I care about you, Mia. This isn't just about attraction, it's deeper. But I need you to understand the stakes." "I do," she replied softly, her eyes locked on his. "And I'm willing to take that risk." Their hearts beat in sync, and for a moment, the world around them faded away. It was just the two of them, suspended in an unbreakable moment of connection. A spark ignited, drawing them closer together, and despite the chaos of their lives, they found solace in each other. As the gala continued to bustle around them, Mia felt a sense of empowerment. She had chosen this path, and she wouldn't let fear dictate her choices. She would stand beside June, facing whatever came their way. If you're already hooked on their chemistry, hit that like button. And tell me, would you trust him? The thought lingered in her mind as she prepared to embrace the unknown, determined to carve her own fate alongside June. The tension in the air was electric as Mia found herself cornered by June in a quiet corridor of the gala, away from the prying eyes of the guests. The chaos of the earlier confrontation still lingered in her mind, but now all she could focus on was the man standing before her, the Korean mafia boss who had captivated her thoughts. His intense gaze bore into her, searching for answers, while Mia's heart raced in her chest. "Why do you keep lowering your eyes?" June asked, his voice low and commanding. There was a hint of frustration beneath his calm facade, as if he couldn't comprehend why she would shy away from him. I'm not used to this," she stammered, her cheeks flushing with embarrassment. "I'm just trying to understand everything that's happening." Understanding isn't found in looking down, he replied sharply. If you want to be part of this world, you need to stand tall. Show me you're not afraid. Mia felt a mix of defiance and vulnerability at his words. She had always prided herself on her strength, yet here she was, feeling small in the presence of this powerful man. I'm not afraid, she insisted, meeting his gaze with determination. But I need to know what I'm getting into. What does it mean to be with you? June took a step closer, the heat radiating from his body enveloping her. It means facing danger every single day. It means being hunted because of who I am. You have to understand that, Mia. The weight of his words settled heavily on her. She had been drawn to his power, his confidence, but now the reality of his world loomed large. What if I want to be with you despite that? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. He narrowed his eyes, considering her resolve. It's not just about wanting. It's about survival. You'll be in the crosshairs whether you like it or not. I won't let anyone hurt you. Then don't keep me in the dark, June, she pleaded, the urgency in her voice palpable. I want to know everything, the good and the bad. I can handle it, she added, trying to convince not only him but also herself. With a heavy sigh, June ran a hand through his dark hair, a gesture that revealed his inner conflict. Fine, he said at last, the resignation in his tone making her heart flutter. But know this, once you're in, there's no turning back. I know what I want, Mia replied, a newfound confidence surging within her. And I want to be with you, no matter the risks. He studied her for a moment, the tension between them thickening. The air crackled with unspoken emotions, and she could see the flicker of admiration in his eyes. You're brave, Mia. I admire that, he admitted, his voice softening. But before they could delve deeper into their connection, an explosion of noise erupted from the gala hall, shattering the intimate moment. June's expression darkened as he instinctively placed himself in front of her, shielding her from whatever chaos lay beyond the corridor. Stay close, he commanded, his demeanor shifting from vulnerable to protective in an instant. We need to get out of here. Mia's heart raced, adrenaline coursing through her veins as she felt both fear and exhilaration. The realization that danger was real washed over her, and she understood the gravity of June's world. She nodded, her breath hitching as he took her hand, leading her through the winding halls away from the uproar. As they navigated the chaos, Mia felt a surge of emotions battling within her. The thrill of being with June, mixed with the fear of what awaited them outside, left her breathless. What's happening? She asked, trying to keep up with his long strides. Rival gangs, he said tersely, his eyes scanning their surroundings. They found us. Mia's stomach dropped at the realization. She had entered a world filled with danger, and she was willing to stand by June, but she needed to be prepared for the consequences. What do we do? She asked, anxiety creeping into her voice. Trust me, he replied, his gaze hardening with determination. Stick to me, and we'll get through this. As they reached a back entrance, June paused, turning to face her. No matter what happens, Mia, remember that I won't let anything happen to you. His voice resonated with fierce protectiveness, and she felt a warmth spread through her at his words. I believe you, she replied, her heart swelling with a mix of fear and admiration. She was about to plunge into the depths of his world, a world that promised peril but also a connection she had never anticipated. Just as they stepped outside, the night air hit them like a wave, cool and sharp. The chaos from within the gala faded slightly, but the tension remained thick. June glanced around, assessing the situation, his instincts sharp. Get in the car, he instructed, urgency in his voice. Mia obeyed without question, slipping into the passenger seat of his sleek black car. June followed swiftly, starting the engine with a roar that echoed into the night. The world outside blurred as they sped away from the chaos, leaving the gala behind. As they drove, Mia's mind raced with thoughts of what had just transpired. The thrill of danger was intoxicating, but so were her feelings for June. She turned to him, her voice steady. I'm not afraid of your world, June. I want to be part of it. He glanced at her, a flicker of surprise crossing his features. You realize what that means, right? It's not a fairy tale. I know, she affirmed, her conviction unwavering. But I'm ready to face it with you. The car raced through the city streets, the buildings towering around them like silent sentinels. June's grip on the steering wheel was firm, his focus unwavering, but she could see the way her words affected him. They were both on the precipice of something profound, and the stakes were higher than either of them had anticipated. If you're truly committed, then we'll face this together, he said, a hint of admiration lacing his tone. But there will be challenges, Mia. You can't back down. I won't, she promised, her heart pounding with determination. I'll fight for us. Silence enveloped them for a moment, the hum of the engine filling the void. June glanced at her, his expression softening as he recognized the tenacity she possessed. You're unlike anyone I've ever met, he admitted quietly, the sincerity in his voice wrapping around her like a warm embrace. Mia smiled, feeling a connection that transcended the chaos surrounding them. And you're not what I expected either, she replied, her heart swelling with affection for the man beside her. As they drove further away from the gala, Mia knew that whatever lay ahead, they would face it together. This was a turning point in their lives, a moment that bound them closer amid the uncertainty. If you're already hooked on their chemistry, hit that like button. And tell me, would you trust him? The night was far from over, and the path ahead was filled with challenges. But for the first time, Mia felt a glimmer of hope amidst the danger. She was ready to embrace her place in June's world, come what may. Mia sat in the passenger seat, the adrenaline still coursing through her veins as June navigated the darkened streets. The chaos of the gala felt like a distant memory, yet the tension between them remained palpable. Every moment spent in close proximity to him felt electric, as if the air crackled with unspoken words and untamed emotions. She stole glances at him, her heart pounding at the sight of his focused expression, the way his jaw tightened as he maneuvered the car with precision. They had escaped the immediate danger, but the reality of what she had just witnessed loomed heavy in her mind. The violence, the raw power displayed by June, stirred something deep within her, a curiosity mingled with apprehension. She could hardly believe that she had willingly stepped into a world defined by such peril, yet something about it called to her. What's next? She finally asked, her voice barely above a whisper, as if speaking too loudly would shatter the fragile moment they were sharing. June's eyes flicked toward her, a mixture of surprise and appreciation crossing his face. We need to get somewhere safe first, he replied, his voice steady, though she could hear the undercurrent of urgency. I'll take you to my place. Mia nodded, her heart racing at the thought of being alone with him. His place, a term that sounded so simple yet held a weight of mystery and danger. She knew that being with him meant diving deeper into a world she barely understood, a world where loyalty was everything, but so was betrayal. As they drove in silence, Mia tried to process everything. She felt a surge of emotions battling within her, fear, excitement, and an undeniable attraction to the man beside her. The way June had protected her back at the gala, stepping in front of her as if she were the most precious thing in the world, stirred something fierce inside her. It was both intoxicating and terrifying. Why me? She asked suddenly, her voice breaking the silence. Why did you choose to protect me? He glanced at her, his expression softening for a brief moment. You're different, he admitted, his voice low and sincere. You don't shrink away or cower. You stand your ground, and that's rare in my world. Mia could feel the weight of his words settle between them, and she smiled, a warmth spreading through her chest. I'm just trying to survive, she said, a hint of humor lacing her tone. I didn't expect to be thrown into a mafia drama tonight. June chuckled softly, the sound surprising her. You have no idea how dramatic it can get. But I want you to know, Mia, that I will do everything to keep you safe. You're important to me. Her heart fluttered at his declaration, but a shadow of doubt crept into her mind. Important? But I'm just a regular person. I don't belong in your world. He shook his head, his gaze steady on the road. That's where you're wrong. You're more important than you realize, and I see something in you that others don't. You bring a light into the darkness that surrounds me. Mia felt herself blush at his words, the sincerity of his tone resonating deep within her. She had never thought of herself as someone who could evoke such feelings in another person, especially not in someone as formidable as June. The way he looked at her made her feel seen, truly seen, and it was a feeling she had longed for. A tension hung in the air, thick and heavy, as they approached a sleek, modern building that towered against the night sky. June parked the car, and they both sat for a moment, the silence stretching between them like a taut wire. It's safe here, he finally said, breaking the silence, though she could sense there was more he wanted to say. As they stepped out of the car, Mia took a moment to admire the elegant facade of the building. It exuded an aura of power and sophistication, much like June himself. She followed him inside, her heart racing with anticipation and trepidation. The interior was just as striking, a blend of modern design with touches of luxury. It felt like stepping into a different world, one that was both alluring and intimidating. June led her through the lobby, his presence commanding as he greeted the security personnel with a nod. Once they reached the elevator, Mia couldn't help but steal another glance at him. His expression was serious, his brow slightly furrowed as he seemed lost in thought. She wanted to reach out, to comfort him, but she didn't know how. Instead, she stood close, feeling the warmth radiate from his body, grounding her amidst the uncertainty. When the elevator door slid open, June gestured for her to step inside first. As she did, she felt a rush of excitement mixed with nerves. The doors closed, and the moment felt intimate, just the two of them in a confined space, the air thick with unspoken words. Are you sure you're okay? June asked, concern etched on his face. I know tonight has been overwhelming. I'm okay, Mia replied, her voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotion swirling within her. I think I'm just processing everything. The elevator hummed softly as it ascended, and they stood in silence, the tension wrapping around them like a warm embrace. Mia could feel the weight of his gaze on her, and she turned her head slightly to meet his eyes. The intensity of his stare made her heart race, there was familiarity there, a bond forming that felt both exhilarating and terrifying. Listen, Mia, he started, his voice low and serious. I need you to understand something. My life is complicated. I can't promise you that it will be easy, but I can promise you that I will protect you with everything I have. His words resonated within her, igniting a fire she hadn't realized was there. I want to be with you, June, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I want to understand your world, even if it's dangerous. A flicker of surprise crossed his face, and for a moment, she thought he might pull away. Instead, he stepped closer, closing the distance that had felt so vast just moments before. You're brave, he murmured, admiration lacing his tone. But bravery can lead to foolishness. You must tread carefully. I'm willing to take that risk, she asserted, her heart racing. I want to know you, all of you, even the parts that scare me. The elevator chimed, indicating their arrival, and the door slid open to reveal a dimly lit hallway. June stepped out first, turning to extend his hand toward her. Then let's take this step together. As she placed her hand in his, a rush of warmth spread through her. In that moment, she felt an undeniable connection, a promise that they were embarking on a journey that would change them both. If you're already hooked on their chemistry, hit that like button. And tell me, would you trust him? They walked down the hallway, her heart pounding with anticipation. She didn't know what awaited her, but she was ready to face it as long as June was by her side. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she was determined to embrace this new chapter of her life, one that was intertwined with danger, romance, and the promise of something extraordinary. As the evening drew to a close, Mia and June found themselves standing on the rooftop of the stunning building, the city lights twinkling below like stars fallen to earth. The air was crisp, filled with a charged atmosphere that seemed to hum with the energy of their newfound connection. They had faced chaos and danger, yet here, in this moment of tranquility, it felt as though the world had paused just for them. Mia looked out over the skyline, her heart racing as she processed everything that had transpired. June stood beside her, his presence both commanding and comforting. She could feel the tension from earlier still lingering, yet there was something different now. An understanding had formed between them, an unspoken bond that was solidifying with each passing second. "I can't believe how quickly everything changed tonight," she said, breaking the silence. "One moment, I was just trying to navigate a gala, and the next, well, I was caught up in a world I never imagined." June turned to her, his expression softening. "You're stronger than you realize, Mia. Most people would have crumbled under that pressure, yet you stood your ground. That takes courage." She felt a rush of warmth at his words, a mixture of pride and vulnerability. "I didn't feel strong. I felt terrified. But with you, I felt protected." June's gaze intensified, and for a moment, the weight of their experiences hung in the air between them. "You need to understand, my life is filled with dangers you can't even begin to fathom. Being with me means facing those threats head on." "I get that," she replied. "But I'm willing to take that risk. I want to be part of your world, June. I want to understand you, even if it means confronting the darkness." His eyes searched hers, as if he were trying to gauge her sincerity. "You don't know what you're asking for." "Yes, I do," she insisted, stepping closer, her heart pounding in her chest. "I may not know everything about your past, but I know I want to be with you. I want to learn who you are beyond the facade." A flicker of vulnerability crossed his face, a moment where the tough exterior cracked just enough for her to glimpse the man beneath. "It won't be easy. I can't always be there to shield you from harm. I don't expect you to be my shield. I want to stand with you, not behind you. I want to face whatever comes our way together." June took a deep breath, his expression shifting from uncertainty to something softer, more profound. "You're one of the few who have ever looked at me without fear. That's both refreshing and frightening." Mia smiled, her heart swelling with affection. "Then let's make this work. I believe in us." Just as their eyes locked, the sound of a phone vibrating broke the moment. June pulled out his phone, glancing at the screen. His expression darkened, and she felt a wave of unease wash over her. "It's my associate. They found out about the breach earlier tonight." Concern etched on Mia's face. "What does that mean for us?" "It means I need to take action to protect you. There are people who won't take kindly to your presence in my life." "Then let's figure this out together," she urged, feeling a surge of determination. "You don't have to face this alone." June's gaze softened again, and for a moment, Mia could see the battle raging within him. "I've always operated alone. Letting someone in is complicated. I'm not asking you to abandon your life. I'm asking you to trust me. We can find a way to navigate this, but you have to let me in." He regarded her for a long moment, and she could feel the intensity of his thoughts. Finally, he nodded, albeit reluctantly. "Okay. But you must promise me that you'll be careful. This isn't a game." "I promise," she declared, her voice steady. "I'll be careful. But I won't back down." June stepped closer, his hand brushing against hers, electrifying her skin with the touch. "If we're going to do this, we need to be all in." She looked up at him, her heart racing. "I'm all in." The moment hung between them, charged with unspoken promises and possibilities. June leaned closer, and she felt her breath catch in her throat as he lowered his head slightly, his lips hovering just inches from hers. "Mia," he murmured, his voice a husky whisper that sent shivers down her spine. "You have no idea how much you've changed things for me." "What do you mean?" "I've lived in shadows for so long. I built walls around my heart, and yet you've managed to breach them. It terrifies me. Then let's face that fear together, she urged, her voice filled with conviction. I'm not afraid of you or the world you come from. I'm ready to embrace it. In that moment, she sensed a shift in him, a resolve that seemed to ignite the air around them. June closed the distance, capturing her lips with his in a kiss that was both fierce and tender, a melding of two worlds colliding in an electrifying moment. She melted into him, feeling the warmth of his body envelop her, as if he were promising to shield her from all that lurked beyond their bubble. As they pulled away, breathless and wide-eyed, Mia knew this was just the beginning. The journey ahead would be fraught with challenges, but she felt equipped to face them, fueled by the fierce connection they had forged. Thank you for staying until the end. If this story had you on the edge of your seat, smash that like button, subscribe, and let me know in the comments, did you see that ending coming? At the end of this video, you'll find another intense romance waiting for you. Don't miss it. With that, they stood together, ready to confront whatever awaited them, knowing they would face it as partners, united by love and resolve. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would navigate them together, ready to embrace a future filled with both danger and undeniable passion.